This is the Renegade teacher blasting out with another transmission as we continue on our voyage through the cosmos on our mission to find some rationality in public education. I come to you tonight with a rant. Ladies and gentlemen, I have continued farther down the rabbit hole, and I am ready to bring it tonight. I have opened up a whole new wormhole. I made the mistake of investigating the number of states that participate in some type of a student learning objective system, and I was shocked to discover that 30 states, 30 states have signed on board. They are ready to go, and they are in action, collecting data, quote unquote. This is a red alert emergency situation. I need to dig into this with you. So, the article, the document that I found, it was not an article, it's a U.S. Department of Education article. Again, this is a publicly funded document. It is 53 pages long, and it is titled "How States Use Student Learning Objectives in Teacher Evaluation Systems, a review of state websites." And I perused the list of states that have signed on. This is a very ridiculous document in the level of detail and taxpayer money that was spent to produce this. The published date is March 2014, and again, I counted up the number of states at that time. Again, I'm sure it's more now, but at the time, 30 states signed on to this nonsense, and I'll be honest with you, I went through several of those states' websites there and looked to see if it were possible to download an SLO template, and I found the state. I found the state that deserves the most attention. From what I can tell, this is the absolute pinnacle of SLO nightmares. So strap in. The state that I bring to you tonight, the PDF document that I found, was produced by the South Carolina Department of Education, Office of Educator Effectiveness. And this is, I have for you the template document that teachers are expected to use, and you need to strap in, because this is a ride. And I didn't look through the entire thing. Again, being an educator, I've been exposed to SLOs for many years. I've had to write many of these things, but this takes the cake. This is unbelievable. So it's an 8-page form. This is not an article or anything like that. This is a form that all teachers that are subjected to the SLO nonsense are expected to fill out, and I'm going to bless you with simulating and reading through parts of it that will blow your mind. So aside from all of the basic demographic information about the teacher that they're asked to provide on this form, it immediately, this state, South Carolina's SLO form immediately diverges. It immediately diverges into insanity as it brings up this dichotomy of whether or not the SLO is, you have to pick between whether it's an individual SLO or a team SLO. There's things called the SLO type versus the SLO approach. It's extremely confusing to start with. However, I'm sure there are many hours of professional development and prefabricated PowerPoints with which people can explain to the poor, the abused educators of this of these states how to do this and make some kind of sense out of the nonsense. Because I'll continue here. It asked for the teacher to declare the interval of instruction, and it also asked for the dates for which the pretest and post-test will occur, and then we finally reach the pinnacle of SLO nightmares. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the page from hell for any teacher asked to do such a feat. The teacher's expected to provide written responses, and I have to read some of these categories to you, beginning with student population. It asked, and it says, provide a detailed description of the student population. Information should include, but is not limited to, the following: the number of students in the class, a description of students with exceptionalities, learning disabilities, gifted and talented, English language learners, etc. And a description of academic supports provided to students, extended time, resource time with the EC teacher, any classroom supports that students receive to help them access the core curriculum. This is the first box. And they've already gone completely insane, putting ridiculous requirements in this SLO, and this is standard. This is across many states. This same exact box. It haunts us all. If you're one of the people living in one of the states that has not adopted this nonsense, more power to you. Thank goodness. I'm so happy for you. But for those of us who are asked to do all of the things that you're going to hear tonight, this is unbelievable. Why could the administrator or the person scoring the SLO not figure out how many students are in the damn class by looking at the scoring matrix where the teacher tracks the pretest and the post-test scores? This is unbelievable. It's extremely, it's repetitive. It is redundant to a degree that would drive anyone completely insane. I'm getting too fired up too early in the night here, but I can't take it. We'll move on. Part two. The second box on the page from hell is historical and trend data. It says describe the applicable past data for students. In your description included the student's level of knowledge prior to instruction, including the sources of data, formative and summative assessments, anecdotal data gathered from collaboration with other educators, and reflect on the relevance to the overall course objectives. We just went over the edge. This is insanity. Again, the pretest measures the student's level of knowledge prior to instruction. So why the hell are we being asked to describe it when we haven't even met the students for a significant or meaningful amount of time yet? This is written at the beginning of the year. I'll continue. Box 3, again, page from hell. Baseline data. Describe which pre-assessments will be used to measure student learning and why the assessment is appropriate for measuring the objectives. Provide baseline assessment results for the student population. Attach the assessment and grading scale and/or rubric used to score the assessment. Oh, I don't know, folks. I don't know if we can pull out of this. We're in a nosedive. This is unsustainable. How about look at the assessment I stapled to the back of the damn SLO? How about you can be comfortable with the fact that a professional designed that assessment? If it's deemed to not be enough, how about then you come ask for the descriptions and the proof and stop trying to twist the burden of proof onto the teacher in such a redundant and insulting way. You have to be joking. Box 4, post-assessment. Include what assessment will be used as a post-assessment and how it is aligned to the baseline assessment. You have to be joking here. You have to be joking me. Is it not the case that the post-assessment is the same thing as the pre-assessment? If this is to be anything approaching a scientific process, we would then need to remove any variables that are not the student's level of performance. So if you're going to change the post-assessment, you've introduced too many confounding variables to make any of this meaningful. So shut up with your box 4. You do not need this box. Go away. Box 5. Progress monitoring key. How frequently will you progress monitor? How frequently will you progress monitor? How about just how frequently will you monitor students' mastery of content? Indicate what ongoing sources of evidence you will collect in order to monitor student progress. You can't be serious here. Again, this is insulting. This is insulting to assume that a teacher must rewrite everything that they've learned to be appropriate throughout their years of experience, their years getting their degree. Go away with the stupid bullshit here about describing how often I'm going to be checking on my students' progress. Go to hell. Box number 6, learning goal. In parentheses, they clarify objective. Provide a description of what students will be able to do at the end of the SLO interval. The learning goal, objective, is based on and aligned with course or grade level content standards and curriculum. The goal should be broad enough to capture major content, but focused enough to be measurable. Again, this is... I love the fact that they clarify it must be measurable. It doesn't matter if what we're measuring is a turd shat out by all of these states signing on to this pseudoscientific nonsense. Then they ask in box 7 to list the standards that the SLO covered, that the Department of Education wrote, that they publish and forced on educators. This makes me want to throw my laptop into the street, screaming at the top of my lungs that I give up. There's a whole section about growth targets in here. Again, whether you have tiered or individual or targeted growth targets. Does anyone have time for this? You may be going through the motions, you may be doing SLOs, but you need to wake up to the fact that your time is being wasted, you're being insulted as a professional. This is disgusting. A whole section on describing the growth targets, the rationale behind the growth targets. Again, I've discussed before, the system is entirely hackable. It is not sustainable. It's not meaningful, and it goes on. Part 9 of the SLO is about instructional strategies. It says, describe the best instructional practices you will use to teach this content to students. How about we'll use the best instructional practices that we have available to us? the best instructional practices that we were trained to use, do you think that anyone is intentionally doing a bad job that is not already on the way out or should be on the way out based on the teacher evaluation system that you yourself have designed? It goes on in this instructional strategies nonsense to say include how instruction will be differentiated based on data. God, you can't be real here, folks. You've got to reel it in. We have to do something. It's time to buck the system. It goes on. And again, I can't take any more. Let me explain to you why. My God, there's a whole other section to this thing. Let me explain to you why I know 100% that this all is a joke. From the top down, this is a giant cover our ass strategy being employed by people who are scared to death that they are going to lose power. I'll tell you 100% how we know this is a scam. This is all a scam. I was sitting in a professional development session, a seminar on SLOs, on how this all works. And I was told to my face by one of these high credential people who conduct these professional development sessions. I was told to my face that it is very important that when designing an SLO and scoring the SLO, it's very important to end up with a numerical rating. If you don't know, SLOs are scored 1 to 5, which deem the teacher as ranging between, if you're a 1, you're least effective, if you're a 2, you're approaching average, if you're a 3, you're average, if you're a 4, you're above average, and if you're a 5, you're most effective. Applause. Most effective, number 5. So I had this professional development person straight up admit to my face that it is very important to ensure that your SLO does not come out as a 5. You do not want to get a 5. 5s are bad. Again, this is an actual quote. I was told that 5s are a bad thing, and also a 1 or a 2 is also bad. So this person instructed the room to ensure that their SLOs came out to either a 3 or a 4 by the end of the year, and basically come on, man. What is this? How can so many intelligent professional people be outnumbered in willpower, to be overpowered in terms of simple determination by such a minority of people who are nested in at the very top, who refuse to take responsibility for not fixing the main problems that are causing the system to be broken. You can't be serious when you tell me that the goal is not to be the most effective educator that you can possibly be. If you're going to ban a 5 on an SLO, you might as well just delete the whole system off of the entire server of your state Department of Education. You might as well just write, teachers can do whatever the hell that they want. We might as well throw it all away. This is disgusting insanity. I cannot take any more. This is the stuff that puts me over the edge. I end up having to check my blood pressure when I get too exposed to this type of pseudoscience. You know, I shouldn't have to, upon reading an SLO scoring template, I should not need to put on the cuff and check my blood pressure and have to reel it back in. Again, my heart rate is elevated just thinking about what a scam, what a farce all of this is. Again, let's just say this. If we all tomorrow stopped doing our SLOs, the education system would be hugely benefited. And all I can say is that it takes up way too much of our time. It is insulting to professionals who are trained to do their job. This is insane. So with that, I'm going to wrap up tonight. If you haven't subscribed yet, officially become a Renegade. Come along for the ride through the stars on this mission for some rationality, some reasonability in education. I appreciate all of the support, and I will catch you on the flip side. This is Renegade Teacher out.